Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of Expertly Dyed Art by Science, and today we're going to continue on with our Project Fleece tutorial. In an earlier video I said that you can process your fleece however which way you prefer, but since I have a drum carder, I'm going to be processing my fleece in that way. Now, this is the merino that I bought, I think 2012. This is a 2012 fleece. And I'm going to just talk you through how I put it on the drum carder and basically how I remove it. And you can see here I've got several bats that I've already produced from this, I think it was like maybe 200 grams-ish of wool. I just wanted to make sure I had enough. Always make sure that you have more than what you need because you never know, something might happen. So here I have my fleece, and I've just taken the lock like this and pulled it apart. Unfortunately, because I'm at my table right now and not in front of the computer, I can't really adjust the focus for you, so I'm going to try to not do too much stuff that's up close so I don't, so it's not fuzzy. Alright, so you just want it to be really see-through. You can kind of still see, like you can see my shirt here through it. So you want it to be such that you can see through it, and you can put a few pieces out. You just don't want to put a lot on there at once, and you can't, like, even though I finger combed this open before I washed and dyed it, I'm just going to do it a little bit more because sometimes things clump up when you dye, right, or like with the washing process, it's going to clump up a little bit. Now, this merino is very fine, and I have a fine tooth drum carder here. It's appropriate for this type of fleece, but I'm still going slow, and I'm not putting too much into the tray at once. Now you see I'm picking different bunches from the bag, and what I'm doing is sometimes, like this is all prime fleece that I'm working with here. It's a hand spinner's fleece, so there's nothing that you really would find undesirable in this particular fleece. But each little piece kind of has a small variation when it comes to its texture. And I'm also trying to combine the different colors together. So I don't know if this is really obvious for you, but the one in my right hand here, this is sort of a peachy orange color, and this one is very cranberry red. It's almost got like a hot pink color to it. So what I'm trying to do is even out the color a little bit so that when I go to spin, I'm not going to have like a giant orange piece or anything. You can do it however which way you want. If you prefer having the colors grouped together, that's totally fine. But basically, I'm just going to be opening up these locks, putting them through the carder. If anything catches like it just did, stop immediately and then go slowly. You also might need to check where it's going from the feeder, the small drum, onto the swift, which is the large drum here, because there might be something that's not fleece related that's causing the problem, and you want to stop at that moment before you ruin your drum carder or rip your fleece apart. So this process takes, I don't know, it probably takes as long to process this way as it does to pick the fleece before the washing process. I just chose, sorry, I did the picking process after the washing process, but before the dyeing process. What I wanted to do was get as much of the dirt out as I possibly could before it went in to be dyed. And it's good to open up the locks if you want a slightly more even dye color as well. If you have a very tight lock structure, the dye won't necessarily penetrate all the way to the center of it. So we're just going to keep doing this until the drum carder is about half to 2/3 full. Now, the reason why I say that, and I only really say that because I'm working with a very fine merino, if you make it too full of fiber at this stage, it can be very difficult to remove from the drum carder. I made the mistake when I first started working with this wool, which was, I guess at this point, about a year ago, and the drum here was so full of fiber that I had to very meticulously, you know, centimeter by centimeter, inch by inch, lift up and separate at the divider here, this line here. I had to go very slowly, picking up the fibers and separating the pieces so I can remove it from the drum carder. So if you have a fiber that you're not familiar working with, then I would suggest you stay a little cautious and don't fill up your entire drum carder, just in case something like that happens to you. Because for me, it was very stressful, and I wanted to get it off quickly because it was, you know, probably late or it was busy, you know, and it's hard to go slow when you don't want to go slow with a project like that. So just err on the side of caution and go slowly, don't fill it up too much, and you'll be okay. Now, for those of you who have hand cards, using hand cards with a fiber like merino is absolutely perfect to use. But I will say that what you'll probably want to do is the first time through, depending on your dye job, like how well the colors turned out when you dyed, how evenly distributed you want the colors to be, I would suggest carding them with and removing them without making row lags, so that you can go through the second step, which I'm going to be doing in another video, which is to make I'm going to make a whole bunch of bats, and then I'm going to split the bats up and combine different bats together so I can get a slightly more uniform color. Now, all this blending, it has two effects. One is it distributes the color, but more importantly is it gets the fibers more aligned. Now, if I were to remove this bat as it is, it would be okay to spin, but it wouldn't be as easy as if I put it through a second time or even a third time. So instead of really worrying too much about getting everything perfectly aligned the first shot, I'm just going to do my best to get it so that I only have to maybe make 2 passes instead of 3, even though each successive pass will make it smoother. The amount of effort you're going to put in for the result you're going to get diminishes between the second and third passes versus the first and second pass. But that's just up to you. You can experiment, you can try this or that, and you know, see what's going to work for you and your fleece, because not every fleece is identical, which is the beauty of what we do. We really show off the individual fleeces when we purchase a whole fleece and do projects based on that one fleece. So I'm going to pack it down just a little, just to see where we are. Okay. Now for this video, I'm going to cut this short, but I want you to know that I would probably do about twice as much on this drum carder. And if you can kind of see, I don't know, maybe you can kind of see, there's this bare spot here on the edges, and it's the same on the other side as well. Now that's just my personal opinion. I like to keep, when I'm doing this stage of the fiber processing, I prefer to keep the fiber sort of in the middle, because what happens is the stuff that ends up here on the edge, it has a tendency to come off the drum carder, and I've tried various methods to like prevent that from happening, but what happens is the fiber falls off and then it gets stuck and wound around this bar. Like this thing is a bar, it goes all the way through the Swift. It gets stuck there, and then it's a nightmare trying to get it off. I never have pliers handy. So just because I want to save as much of this fleece as possible, I just stick to the middle section of my drum garter. Now, like I said, this merino is kind of fine, so I don't want to just put this in. I know I'm still using a knitting needle. This is bad. Use the tools for your tool. I don't want to just put this all the way in to the end and try to lift up, because I'm going to bend this, which you can kind of see it's already bent. This is why you don't use knitting needles. It also can potentially rip your fibers. So I'm just going to put this in, grab maybe that much or so, and then I'm going to gently lift it up. Like that. Here. Like so, and I'm just going to gather this here, and I'm going to push this end down a little bit so that when the drum comes around, it's not going to get caught and flipped over. Like that. Now, I would likely be on this side pulling this off, but I'm not. This is going to be very awkward, but you understand that you want to pull this off hopefully as much like a bat as you can. And this is a very sticky fiber. I shouldn't say sticky. It has lanolin still in it, and I like it that way because it makes for a much easier spinning process. This fiber spins so beautifully, and it's not just because it's merino, because I've spun a lot of merino over the years. Oh, what's that? Should have cleaned off my work surface a little better. Random piece of fiber. Anyway, so this is sort of a mini version of what you would end up with. But what I'm hoping to maybe be able to show you is that it's not absolutely perfect. Do you see how there's still like some fat spots here? Show you against my shirt maybe. You can kind of see how there's some fat spots in the fiber itself. And now that's going to get evened out with the second pass. There's also still a little bit, which is still maintaining the lock formation. I can show you maybe this, I'll put my finger on it. This little piece right where my finger is, you can kind of see it right there. That's part of the lock that's still together. It probably just wound up in the middle between the tines, so that will probably get worked out in the second pass and most definitely in the third. So this is the bat you'll have. Maybe it'll be a little bit thicker than this. I reuse all these bags. I buy a lot of things on yardage.com because in Korea it's getting some of the things that we're used to having, like oatmeal, it's really difficult to find here. And even though I've been to a lot of the foreign markets around, they're not easy to find, or they're really expensive. So I buy a lot of stuff on yardage that I just can't get here. So whenever we get stuff delivered, I tend to reuse all of these bags. And the reason why I'm using the plastic is because it's just temporary. This is not permanent long-term storage. So this is all of that stuff that just came out of this bag. It's very thick and fluffy. And you know, they're in layers. These represent the bats that I made already. And these have only gone through the first pass, so you can kind of see how much more substantial it is than the little one that we just made. But yeah, so you can kind of see that they're pretty well smooth. I don't know how well the smoothness is showing up here on the video. I also continue with the photo tutorials with this on the blog, so if you have been there and seen the first post, you'll see another post with more pictures very soon. Anyway, so you're basically going to have a whole stack of these bats. And then in the next video, we'll talk about sending it through, how to, like, best ways to split the bats, how to run the fiber through a second time so that you don't have to do it a third time. Okay? And any of this like extra stuff that stays on the drum carder, if my goal is to finish processing this, which I actually might do later today, I'm just going to keep this fiber on here because in the next bat that I make, it might pull the rest of these fibers off. So I don't really worry about cleaning my drum carder when I'm doing this process. It's an extra step that you don't really need to go through, and as long as you're not letting the fiber just sit on here for months and months, it will be fine for your drum carder. Fiber on drum carders can attract pests, so you don't want to leave it in this state if you're going to, you know, put it in storage or something. So anyway, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. If you have any questions or comments, you can post those in the comments below. And if there's anything else that you want to see, photo tutorials, video tutorials, other kinds of projects like this, please let me know as well. You can also find me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, and I also have Pinterest and Instagram if you want to see the other things that I do that aren't always fiber related. You can find those links all in the description box below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!